This is the HeaterTreater video for repair on a Ford Windstar. And what I'm showing you here is typical dash configuration on a Windstar. I think this is fairly common across the entire product line, but there may be differences from year to year, and we don't really have the resources to look at every single one. But I think this will certainly give you a good overview of the process and how we're going to repair. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the radio. This one has an aftermarket radio, so it'll be a little different than yours, but there's a special tool that's made by Ford. You can get these at O'Reilly's is where I bought this one. And as you can see, it's just a loop of wire. You could certainly make one. But for most of them with a standard radio, you have holes on both sides. Those go in, pull apart, and the radio pulls out. This one will be a little different because it is aftermarket. But one of the most difficult parts is getting that radio out. So that's going to be the first step we're going to do. We'll take this panel off, and then we will come in through the glove box, and we'll show you pictures of what you can expect to see. We've pulled the bottom skirt off of the bottom of the dash here, and that's just a plastic wraparound piece, and it's held in place with 4 plastic insertions, and those have a small Phillips screw that will pull out and then pull that plastic holder out of the system, and that bottom skirt will come off fairly easily. We got the radio removed. There are 4 screws that hold the center panel in place, 2 down on the bottom here and 2 up on the top. And so we pull those 4 screws out, and then the entire module will pull out after we do that. The fun part is getting all of these different connectors and wires pulled loose, and I'm going to leave that up to you to figure out which ones have buttons that you push and levers that you pull, etc. But all of those wires will come loose, including the radio antenna. So let's get a little further into it. I'll show you the actuator motor. We'll start getting some more work done. Once you get the center console out, if you look towards the back of the opening up against the plenum box, you'll see the actuator motor, and the next step is we're going to take that little motor off. It's an 8mm screw, and you'll need a long extension on your screwdriver attachment or ratchet in order to reach up in there. There are 3 screws you need to get at, and you do need a long extension. It's tough to get your hands up in there, but we'll pull that motor off next. We're now removing the little center ashtray cup holder assembly, whatever that is. It's got 2 screws in the back. They're fairly easy to get to once you get the system open, and that will just pull up and out of the way. After removing the cup holder, we're going to come in from the driver's side on the bottom, and we're going to make a cut in the middle, and I'm going to show it to you right here. I'm going to go ahead and make that cut, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like after the cut has been made. Okay, you can see where I made a little cut into the frame, and then remove these 2 screws on the side. I'm going to bend that up out of the way, and I'll show you what it looks like after we do that. Okay, here's what it looks like after we've done some high precision bending. You can see that we've kind of bent that up out of the way. I used a large crescent wrench to grab a hold of different pieces and pull it. It's a fairly small working area, so it's not real easy to do, but it'll be pretty obvious when you start bending, kind of where you need to generate a little more information, or a little more room. And you can see the screws where we'll push that back in, and we'll just pull it back into place and bolt it down, and maybe leave a few bends in it. I did the cut with an angle grinder. You could also do it with a hacksaw, but it would be fairly slow. It's a fairly accessible cut from the driver's side under the dash, but this will make it much easier to install a new door once we get a little more room in it. This is the view in through the glove box, and you may be able to see where I bent the metal piece out of out of range a little bit. It'll be obvious when you look at it, and you'll see that it makes it much easier to access the plenum box when you get that removed. You'll also see an electronic module here. We're going to have to pull that off and get it out of the way, but the cut will be made in this general area. And I'll show you the markings for the cut as we get to that. Okay, we finished making the cut in the box, and the instructions will give you a better picture of what you're looking at. The only key is to make sure that you don't impinge on the heater core, and it's going to be right along this line here, and then getting on either side of this little piece is kind of tricky, but once we get there, this piece is going to come out fairly easily. Okay, and that's going to reveal the blend door up in there, and that's the part that we're going to pull out and replace. And you can feel how much room you've got in here. There's nothing really critical as far as the heater core or evaporator core on this model. So the cut is a little tricky just because it's a confined area, and I ended up doing most of it from the glove box side, but you may also have to come in through the center console, particularly on this little bottom piece that you need to cut out. But the cut is all four sides all the way around.